Good day, my friends. Today I want to unravel a truth that many of us have experienced, but few understand the paradox of love, where the one who loves you a lot sometimes ignores you a lot. It's frustrating, isn't it? To crave attention from someone you know cares deeply for you, only to feel like they're slipping away. But what if I told you that this paradox is often a reflection of the complexities of human emotion and the silent battles we fight within ourselves? Love is not always loud. We've been conditioned to believe that love is loud, visible, and constant, but true love often works in silence. Sometimes the one who loves you the most steps back because they're afraid of smothering you. They want to give you space to grow, to discover yourself, and to embrace your own individuality. This form of love doesn't scream for attention, it trusts in its depth. True love is a delicate balance, an intricate dance of closeness and distance. It often requires stepping back, not because of a lack of affection, but because love in its truest form understands the importance of space. It acknowledges that while two people are connected by their bond, they are still individuals with their own identities, aspirations, and personal journeys. When someone loves you deeply, their instinct may sometimes tell them to allow you room to breathe, to grow, and to thrive as your own person. This space isn't about pushing you away, but about honoring your individuality. It's recognizing that no matter how deeply intertwined your lives become, there will always be parts of you that are yours alone. These are the aspects of your personality, dreams, and passions that make you who you are. True love cherishes these qualities and wants to nurture them, even if that means taking a step back to let you explore them on your own. This space is also about fostering mutual respect. By allowing distance, the one who loves you shows they trust you to navigate your own path. It's a silent affirmation that your autonomy is valued and that they don't see their role as controlling your every move. Instead, they trust that the love you share is strong enough to withstand moments of separation, no matter how brief. Space allows both partners to reflect on their connection. It offers moments of solitude where they can appreciate each other more deeply. Sometimes when we are constantly in someone's presence, we may begin to take their qualities for granted. A little distance can reignite the spark, reminding both individuals of what makes their bond special. It's in the quiet moments of reflection that love often grows stronger, deeper, and more resilient. However, this need for space can sometimes be misunderstood. When the one who loves you steps back, it can feel like rejection or indifference, especially if the intention behind their actions isn't communicated. This misunderstanding is where insecurity often finds fertile ground. It's easy to question someone's love when they seem distant, but it's crucial to remember that stepping back doesn't equate to stepping away. Their love remains constant as their approach that shifts temporarily. This dynamic also emphasizes the importance of emotional maturity in relationships. Both partners must understand that love isn't about clinging to one another at all times. It's about learning to let go, even if just slightly, to allow each other the freedom to breathe. This freedom doesn't weaken the bond, it strengthens it, as it's rooted in trust, respect, and an understanding that love doesn't need to be proven through constant presence. In addition, space provides an opportunity for the one who loves you to better themselves. They might use this time to reflect on their own emotions, aspirations, or challenges. Love is not just about what we give to others, it's also about what we bring into the relationship. By taking a step back, they might be working on becoming a better partner, someone who can contribute to the relationship in healthy and more meaningful ways. The balance between closeness and space is one of the most challenging aspects of love. It requires both partners to trust the process and to believe in the strength of their connection. It's a dance that demands patience, understanding, and faith. When done right, this balanced relationship where both individuals can flourish, not just as a couple, but as individuals who continue to grow, learn, and evolve. So when the one who loves you a lot seems to step back, resist the urge to interpret it as a lack of love. Instead, consider the possibility that they are giving you a precious gift, the gift of space to discover yourself, to grow, and to shine. True love isn't about holding on tightly. It's about learning to let go just enough to allow each other to thrive. It's in this balance of closeness and space that the deepest, most enduring love is found. Loving someone deeply is one of the most vulnerable experiences a person can go through. It requires the courage to open your heart, to expose your fears, and to entrust another with the most fragile parts of your soul. But with such profound love often comes an equally profound fear, the fear of vulnerability. This fear can manifest in ways that are hard to understand, even for the one experiencing it. It's one of the reasons why someone who loves you deeply might at times appear to ignore you or pull away. When a person loves intensely, their emotions can feel overwhelming. Love isn't just a feeling, it's a weighty force that comes with its own set of fears. They might fear being too much for you, suffocating you with their affection, or losing their sense of control over their emotions. Loving deeply often means caring so much about someone that the thought of losing them becomes a constant undercurrent. This fear can make them hesitant to express the full extent of their feelings, leading to moments of withdrawal or detachment. It's not because they don't care, it's because they care so much that it scares them. This fear of vulnerability often stems from past experiences. Maybe they've loved before and been hurt. Maybe they've opened up only to be rejected or misunderstood. These experiences leave scars, making them cautious about being too transparent. Vulnerability requires trust. And even when trust exists in a relationship, their past wounds might make it difficult to fully embrace the openness that love demands. At times, the one who loves you deeply might feel unworthy of your love. They might think, what if I'm not enough? What if my flaws push them away? These insecurities can create a barrier, causing them to withdraw instead of risk exposing their perceived shortcomings. It's a self-protective mechanism, a way to shield themselves from potential rejection or disappointment. In other cases, their fear might not be about you or your relationship, but about the intensity of their emotions. Loving deeply can be an all-consuming experience, and they might struggle to manage these feelings. It's like trying to hold back a flood with a single dam. They might pull away to regain their emotional balance, not because their love has diminished, but because they need to protect themselves from being overwhelmed. Fear of vulnerability can also lead to a reluctance to fully communicate. Instead of sharing their feelings or fears, they might choose silence. This silence isn't meant to hurt you, it's their way of coping with their internal struggles. They might believe that keeping their emotions bottled up will protect the relationship, not realizing that this very silence can create confusion or distance. For the person on the receiving end of this behavior, it's easy to misinterpret it as indifference or lack of care. When someone who loves you seems distant, it's natural to wonder if they're losing interest or if their feelings have changed. But in many cases, the distance isn't about you, it's about their internal battle with vulnerability and fear. Understanding this can help bridge the gap between assumption and reality. This dynamic also highlights the importance of empathy and patience in relationships. Instead of reacting to their withdrawal with anger or frustration, try to see things from their perspective. Ask yourself, what might they be feeling right now? What fears could be holding them back? Sometimes, a gentle approach showing them that it's safe to be vulnerable with you can make all the difference. It's also essential to create a space where vulnerability is welcome, not judged. Let them know that their fears, insecurities, and emotions are valid. Reassure them that love isn't about perfection, it's about acceptance. When they see that they can be their true selves with you, without fear of rejection or judgment, they'll feel more comfortable opening up. While it's important to support them, it's equally important to set healthy boundaries. Loving someone who struggles with vulnerability doesn't mean sacrificing your own emotional well-being. If their fear of vulnerability leads to consistent withdrawal or avoidance, it's crucial to address these patterns together. Open and honest communication is the foundation of any strong relationship. And overcoming fear requires effort from both partners. The fear of vulnerability is a testament to how deeply someone loves. It's a reflection of how much they value the relationship and how much they want to protect it. While this fear can create moments of distance, it's also an opportunity for growth both individually and as a couple. By approaching these moments with understanding and compassion, you can help each other navigate the complexities of love and vulnerability. Remember, love isn't about being fearless. It's about being brave enough to face those fears together. The one who loves you deeply may at times ignore you or pull away, but beneath that distance lies a heart that beats for you, a heart that wants to love fully, even if it's afraid. Your patience and understanding can help them courage to embrace vulnerability and build a connection that's not just deep but enduring. When someone loves you deeply but seems to ignore you at times, it can feel confusing, even hurtful. However, what often lies beneath this behavior is not a lack of love, but the weight of unspoken emotional battles. Love, especially when profound and intense, can sometimes highlight inner struggles that the other person is facing, battles they may not feel ready or able to share. Unspoken emotional battles are those inner conflicts that individuals wrestle with silently. These might stem from past traumas, insecurities, personal challenges, or even fears about the relationship itself. When someone is deeply in love, these internal struggles can become magnified. They may start to question their worthiness, feel overwhelmed by their emotions, or worry about their ability to meet the expectations they believe love demands. These thoughts often lead them to retreat, not because they love you less, but because they feel trapped by the weight of their own emotions. One of the most common unspoken battles involves feelings of inadequacy. The one who loves you might feel like they aren't good enough for you. They might look at their flaws and weaknesses and fear that eventually you'll see them too and decide to walk away. This fear can lead them to pull back, thinking that by creating some distance, they can protect themselves from the possibility of rejection. In their mind, it's a way of shielding their heart, even if it's not what their heart truly wants. Another significant emotional battle is the struggle to balance personal challenges with the demands of a relationship. Life is full of stresses, work pressures, financial issues, family dynamics, and personal goals. When someone is juggling these pressures, they might feel drained, leaving them with little energy to fully engage in the relationship. This withdrawal isn't about prioritizing their struggles over their love for you, it's about survival. They may feel like they need to retreat to find their footing, even if it means unintentionally creating distance between you. There's also the fear of losing oneself in a relationship. When love is intense, it can feel all-consuming. The one who loves you might worry that they are losing their identity or neglecting their own needs in the process of loving you. This fear can push them to step back, not because they don't want to be close to you, but because they need to reconnect with themselves. They might be battling the question of how to maintain their individuality while still being a devoted partner. Sometimes, their silence and withdrawal are tied to a fear of failure. They might think, what if I can't give them the love they deserve? What if I let them down? These fears can lead them to hesitate, holding back their affection because they're unsure if they're doing enough or if their efforts are truly appreciated. It's not that they don't want to love you fully, it's that they're battling internal narrative that tells them they might not be capable of it. It's also important to recognize that unspoken battles often come with a deep reluctance to share them. Many people have been conditioned to believe that vulnerability is a weakness. They might think that opening up about their struggles will burden you or make them appear less strong. Instead of risking this perceived vulnerability, they choose to carry their battles alone, which can result in moments where they seem distant or withdrawn. For the one experiencing this behavior, it's easy to misinterpret it as a lack of interest or love. You might wonder why someone who claims to love you would choose to ignore you or create distance. But it's essential to remember that their actions are rarely about you, They're about their internal world. Their withdrawal is often a sign that they're grappling with something they don't yet know how to express. So how do you navigate this dynamic? The key lies in empathy and patience. Instead of assuming the worst, try to approach the situation with curiosity and understanding. Ask yourself, what might they be going through right now? Recognize that their silence or distance could be their way of coping with emotions they haven't yet learned to articulate. At the same time, it's important to create a safe space for communication. Let them know that it's okay to share their feelings and struggles with you, that their vulnerability won't be judged or dismissed. Reassure them that love isn't about being perfect, it's about being present, even in the messiness of life. Sometimes just knowing that they're not alone in their battles can be enough to help them start opening up. While supporting them, don't lose sight of your own needs. A relationship is a two-way street. And while patience is crucial, so is mutual effort. If their unspoken battles lead to a consistent lack of engagement or affection, it's essential to have an honest conversation about how their behavior affects you. Together, you can work on finding a balance that respects both their need for space and your need for connection. In the end, unspoken emotional battles are a testament to the complexities of love. They show that love doesn't erase our struggles. Instead, it often brings them to the surface. When someone loves you deeply, their fears, insecurities, and personal challenges can feel more pronounced because they care so much about getting it right. By approaching these moments with compassion and open communication, you can turn their silence into an opportunity for growth, both individually and as a couple. True love isn't about the absence of struggles. It's about facing them together, hand in hand. Love, when genuine and profound, doesn't always shout from the rooftops. Often it speaks in whispers and small acts of care, and in quiet gestures that may go unnoticed in the noise of everyday life. The one who loves you deeply might not always express their feelings in grand, dramatic ways, and this can sometimes create the impression of distance or even indifference. However, their love might be expressed in the quiet moments and subtle acts that reveal their devotion. True love is often quiet because it doesn't need constant validation or a spotlight. It exists in the spaces between words and in actions that don't seek recognition. While some people express their love loudly, others are more reserved, showing their affection in ways that are easily overlooked but no less meaningful. They might not always say, "I love you," but they'll remember the small details about you, how you take your coffee, the songs that make you smile, or the way you prefer your blanket folded. These quiet acts are their way of saying, "I see you, I know you, and I care deeply for you." For example, the one who loves you might not text you a dozen times a day or post about you on social media, but they'll make sure you're safe, check in on you when you're unwell, or silently support your dreams and aspirations. They may not verbalize their love every moment, but they'll show it by being there for you when it matters most. Their love is not about showmanship, but about substance, a deep and enduring commitment that doesn't need to be flaunted to be real. This quiet love can also manifest in their willingness to make sacrifices. They might rearrange your schedule to accommodate your needs, stay up late to help you through a tough time, or put aside their own comfort to ensure yours. They may not draw attention to these acts, and because of their understated nature, you might not always notice or fully appreciate them. But these are the moments where their love shines brightest, where their actions speak louder than words ever could. However, the quietness of their love can sometimes lead to misunderstandings. If you're someone who seeks verbal affirmation or grand gestures, you might interpret their subtle expressions as a lack of care. This discrepancy in love languages can create a gap in perception, making you feel as though their feelings aren't as strong as they actually are. It's important to recognize that love isn't a one-size-fits-all experience. People express their emotions in ways that align with their personality and comfort level. Quiet acts of love also reflect a level of trust and security in the relationship. The one who loves you deeply may not feel the need to constantly prove their affection because they believe their actions will speak for themselves. They trust that you'll see and feel their love in the little things they do. This trust is a testament to the depth of their feelings, as it shows they are confident in the strength of your bond. This type of love, though understated, is incredibly stable and reliable. It's the kind of love that doesn't waver in the face of challenges. While grand declarations of love can be fleeting, quiet love is consistent. It's not about sweeping you off your feet in a moment of passion, but about being the steady presence that supports you through life's highs and lows. It's the kind of love that builds a solid foundation, one brick at a time, creating a relationship that can weather any storm. That said, quiet love isn't perfect, and it requires balance. While subtle gestures are beautiful, they should not replace open communication and clear expressions of care. If the one who loves you deeply relies solely on quiet acts without ever articulating their feelings, it can lead to frustration or a sense of emotional distance. Relations thrive on both action and words, and it's important for both partners to feel seen, heard, and valued. If you find yourself questioning the love of someone who expresses it quietly, try to pay attention to the small things they do. Notice how they remember your preferences, how they anticipate your needs, or how they create a safe space for you to be yourself. These may seem like minor details, but they are the threads that weave the fabric of a deep and meaningful connection. On the other hand, if you're the one who loves quietly, remember that not everyone will naturally recognize your subtle expressions of care. Take the time to communicate your feelings openly. Let your partner know how much they mean to you, not just through your actions, but also through your words. This dual approach ensures that your love is understood and appreciated in all its forms. Quiet love at its core is about depth rather than display. It's about showing up consistently, supporting your partner unconditionally, and loving them in ways that may not be loud but are profoundly impactful. It's a reminder that love doesn't always need to be shouted to be heard. Sometimes the quietest of the everyday actions that make life richer and more meaningful. So, when the one who loves you deeply seems quiet or unassuming in their affection, don't mistake it for indifference. Look closer, and you'll see the countless ways their love shines in the quiet, unnoticed moments that prove just how much they care. When someone who loves you deeply seems to ignore you, it's easy to jump to conclusions or feel neglected. However, this apparent contradiction often stems from a complex interplay of emotions and intentions. In many cases, what feels like being ignored isn't a lack of love, but rather a misinterpretation of their actions or priorities. Understanding this dynamic requires looking beyond the surface to see the subtle ways love and personal struggles interact. Loving deeply can sometimes lead to overthinking. The one who loves you may become preoccupied with how to express their love in a way that feels meaningful and genuine. This preoccupation can create moments where they appear distant, but in reality they are consumed by thoughts of how to make you happy or how to be a better partner. These internal deliberations are often invisible to the outside world, leading to misunderstandings. You might interpret their silence as a lack of interest, but it's actually a sign of how much they care. Another layer of this dynamic lies in their attempt to balance love with life's demands. Modern life is full of responsibilities, work, family, personal growth, and social obligations. When someone deeply loves you, they may feel an immense pressure to excel in all areas, including the relationship. This pressure can lead to moments where they focus on external tasks, such as building a career or managing their personal challenges, which might look like they're ignoring you. In truth, their efforts in these areas are often motivated by the desire to create a better future for the both of you. This balancing act can create a tension between intention and perception. For instance, they might spend long hours at work or dedicate time to pursuing a personal goal, believing that these sacrifices will ultimately benefit the relationship. They see their actions as a way of demonstrating love, even if indirectly. However, from your perspective, these actions can feel like neglect. The disconnect arises because their intentions aren't always communicated clearly, leaving room for misinterpretation. Communication, or the lack of it, is a critical factor in this dynamic. Someone who deeply loves you might struggle to articulate their feelings or the reasons behind their actions. They might assume that their love is evident in their overall behavior or that you instinctively understand their intentions. However, relationships thrive on clarity, and without explicit communication, their actions can be misread. What they see as necessary distance to focus on other priorities might feel to you like emotional withdrawal. In some cases, cultural or personal upbringing plays a role. They may have grown up in an environment where love was expressed through actions rather than words or constant attention. As a result, their understanding of love might differ from yours. They might think that providing stability, working hard, or giving you space is the ultimate expression of love. If your love language involves quality time or verbal affirmations, this difference in perspective can create feelings of disconnect. On the other hand, they might also fear being misunderstood. Expressing love openly requires a leap of faith, and they may worry that their gestures won't be appreciated or reciprocated. This fear can lead to hesitation or a more reserved approach to love, which might come across as indifference when in fact it's rooted in fact. At the same time, encourage open communication about their thoughts and intentions. Ask them about their priorities and how they view love. By creating a safe space for dialogue, you can bridge the gap between their intentions and your perceptions. When both partners feel heard and understood, it becomes easier to align expectations and strengthen the relationship. Patience is another essential element. Recognize that love is a journey, and both of you are learning to navigate its complexities. Give them the benefit of the doubt and trust that their love is genuine, even if it doesn't always manifest in the way you expect. Look for the small, subtle ways they show their care through their actions, sacrifices, or the quiet ways they support you. The key lies in understanding that love is multifaceted. It's not always about constant attention or grand gestures. Sometimes it's about the quiet, unnoticed way someone tries to make your life better. By acknowledging their intentions and working together to improve communication, you can move past the misinterpretations and deepen your connection. True love is not just about how it's shown, but also about how it's understood. And this mutual understanding is what transforms relationships into lasting bonds. The complexity of love often defies simple explanations. When someone deeply loves you yet seems to ignore you, it's tempting to view their actions as contradictory. However, love can be as much about self-discovery as it is about connection. People grow, change, and evolve within relationships, and sometimes the moments when they seem distant are not about their feelings for you, but about their own struggles with personal growth and self-identity. Love at its core is deeply intertwined with who we are as individuals. A person who loves deeply may find themselves grappling with questions about their own identity and place in the world. They may ask themselves whether they are enough for you or whether they are living up to their own expectations. These internal conflicts can create a sense of emotional withdrawal, not because they care for you any less, but because they are trying to reconcile their love for you with their personal growth. One of the reasons someone might appear distant is the fear of losing their individuality in the relationship. When love is intense, it can sometimes feel all-encompassing, leading to questions about balance. How do they remain true to themselves while also giving fully to you? This internal tug of war can lead to moments where they seem to step back, not because their love has diminished, but because they are trying to maintain their sense of self. Their withdrawal might also stem from a desire to protect you from their struggles. They might think, I don't want to burden them with my issues, or they deserve someone who has it all figured out. This self-imposed isolation can make you feel ignored, but in their mind, it's an act of love. They believe that by working on themselves privately, they are safeguarding the relationship, even if it creates temporary distance. The process of self-discovery can also uncover insecurities and fears that they might not have realized existed. As they dig deeper into their sense of self, they may confront feelings of inadequacy or unresolved issues from their past. These revelations can be overwhelming, causing them to pull back as they process what they've uncovered. Their silence isn't rejection, it's a reflection of their inner work, a sign that they are trying to grow into someone who can love you even more fully. This journey can be especially challenging if they've never been taught how to navigate their emotions or communicate effectively. Society often conditions people to suppress vulnerability, particularly in the context of romantic relationships. They might believe that they need to appear strong, capable, and in control at all times. This belief can make it difficult for them to share their struggles openly, leading to a pattern of withdrawal rather than dialogue. From your perspective, their distance can feel hurtful or confusing. It's easy to interpret their behavior as a lack of interest or commitment, especially if they don't articulate what they're experiencing. However, understanding their journey requires empathy and patience. Recognizing that their withdrawal might be part of their personal growth can help you reframe the situation. Instead of seeing their silence as neglect, try to view it as a sign of their effort to become a better version of themselves, both for you and for themselves. Supporting someone through this process doesn't mean ignoring your own needs. It's important to communicate how their behavior affects you, creating an open dialogue where both of you can express your feelings. Let them know that you're there for them, but also share your perspective. For example, you might say, I understand you're going through something, but I need to feel connected to you too. This kind of conversation allows both partners to feel heard and supported. At the same time, it's important to set boundaries that protect your emotional well-being. While it's natural to want to support someone you love, you shouldn't have to sacrifice your own sense of stability. A healthy relationship involves mutual effort, and both partners need to be willing to work toward understanding and growth. In the end, the moments when someone seems to ignore you might be the times when they are most invested in becoming the best version of themselves. Their distance isn't a reflection of their feelings for you, but of their own internal struggles. By approaching these moments with empathy and understanding, you can strengthen your bond and support each other's growth. True love isn't about never changing. It's about embracing change as an opportunity to grow both individually and as a couple. To navigate this, both partners must embrace empathy, patience, and open communication. It's essential to look beyond surface actions and seek to understand the intentions and emotions driving them. By creating a safe space for dialogue and supporting each other's individual journeys, love becomes a shared endeavor partnership rooted in mutual understanding and growth. True love is not without its complexities, but it thrives when both partners commit to understanding each other's unique ways of loving and being. It's in these moments of challenge and quiet growth that the most enduring bonds are forged. Love at its core is about standing by each other, not only through moments of joy and clarity, but also through the silence and the storms, growing stronger together every step of the way.